Hey guys, so this is my part of the talking about our dietary changes and how it's affected our relationship. And Katrina touched on some things that are still a bit contentious between us. I did fight her on a lot of things at first, but it was because Katrina isn't big on verbal communication. And I'm a writer, I'm big on words. And so she would find videos that really stuck in her head and gave her ideas, but she isn't effective at communicating those things. She just sort of makes the change and runs with it. And so I kind of felt left out a little bit at first, you know. And also some of the changes she was making at first, I think even she'll admit she didn't completely understand what the people she was watching their videos, what they were doing, and why. And so she was taking changes and doing things at the point in her dietary change where she wasn't ready for it yet. Like I would come over and she would have had an 8-ounce glass of juice, vegetable mix juice, and then she was going to do nothing but eat carrots for the rest of the day. And you know, I've lost weight before. I in my 20s I was over 500 pounds. And I lost 250 pounds, got back down into the 200s in a matter of, I think it was 3.5 years. So I've lost weight before, and I did it dieting and exercising. And I understand diet and nutrition fairly well. I'm not an expert. I'm not going to claim to be. But I do know that eating a diet that's singular in the items that you have, like if it's all bananas or if it's all carrots or if it's all one thing with very little variation in it, that's an unbalanced diet, and an unbalanced diet is going to be unhealthy for you. You're going to miss out on, you know, specific nutrients and vitamins and minerals and that sort of thing that you're going to need. And so that's why I was worried that she was making unhealthy choices. But you know, as time went through, I realized that she was getting a better footing and a better understanding of what she was doing. And I kind of started to go along with her and started to make some of the changes. Now, I'm not vegan. I'm not averse to eventually evolving to veganism, but I still have, you know, hang-ups on food. I do. I have eating disorders. I overeat. I eat compulsively. I eat to assuage emotions. I cook and eat. I use food as a means of expressing creativity. I'm an artistic person. And I'm battling with seeing food as a means of creativity and expressing myself and expressing the sensual nature of food and the voluptuous nature of food. And sensual and voluptuous when it comes to food means fat. It does. If you're going to get a voluptuous, sensual feel in your mouth from food, it's going to come from fat. And, you know, you're not going to bite into a head of lettuce or a raw cucumber, as great as a cucumber fresh from the garden can taste. You're not going to bite into it and think sensual or think voluptuous or unctuous or anything like that. You're going to think fresh and vibrant and green, and those are good things. But my look at food has always been more of a corpulent kind of thing, and I've always had issues with, you know, too much fat, too much salt, too many carbs. My comfort foods, my grandmother makes some of the greatest comfort foods, and they're all pastas and cheese and meat, and, you know, so I have a hard time. I have a long road ahead of me to overcome the emotional attachments I have to food, to work those out. But I'm getting better at it. And like I said, I'm not averse to becoming vegan. Giving up meat isn't going to be as hard for me as a lot of meat eaters think it is for them. Because I understand that the industrial meat process is a horrible one. The fact that you go to the grocery store and you buy a pound of hamburger and it could have anywhere from a dozen to 100 different cows in it that have been processed all over the country. I mean, centralized processing of meat and vegetables and produce in general, I think is a bad idea, just because when you get a contaminant in there, instead of it being a local regionalized thing where that meat's going to be tainted and have to be called back, it's going to be a countrywide thing where meat that you've shipped all over, meat that you've maybe shipped internationally, is going to have to be called back. So it's a bad thing. Just logistically, it's a bad thing because the animals are completely abused. The life of a cattle cow, or of a meat chicken, or of a pig that's, you know, destined for bacon or whatever, they're horrible. They're not. That's not life. And you know, I know it sounds like a, you know, you're going to want to call it a hippie thing or a touchy-feely spiritual thing, and it may be completely irrational and emotional on my part, but I don't want to consume things that have lived in a life of squalor and fear and abject misery. I don't want to consume something whose last seconds of life were filled with pain and torment. You know, and I'm sure there are people in this industry who, you know, fight with their conscience about it. But they're still part of the industry, and I know that I've seen so many videos of so many different instances where there are sadistic, angry, bitter people who are just enjoying the abuse that they heap on these animals, kicking them, and, you know, just the process of subduing the animals, and it's a horrible thing. And so on that level, giving up meat is not going to be a problem for me. On the level of, I like the taste of beef, I like the taste of pork, I like the taste of chicken, I like fish, I love seafood, I love, you know, shellfish and mollusks, and that's going to be the attachment that's harder to give up for me. And I may, you know, cheat occasionally. I'm not going to try to hide that either, and I will be honest with people about it when I do it, why I did it. But I think eventually I will become, probably, for the most part, a vegetarian or a vegan. I have some digestive issues that make being completely raw an issue for me. Crohn's disease makes eating a lot of raw vegetables and a lot of raw roughage going through my intestines a difficult thing. It's not that fun. So I don't know that I'm going to be able to do the raw till 4 completely. I process better cooked things. I know that I don't absorb as much through it, but because of Crohn's disease, I don't absorb well anyway. So I don't, you know, it's going to have to be about exploring and finding a balance where I'm nutritionally sound, but I'm not also causing myself immense amounts of gastric distress because of all the raw fiber and roughage that I'm, you know, pushing through my system. And I also have to worry about becoming constipated, because with my liver disease, constipation means that the toxins sit in my system longer, and that builds ammonia up, and that leads to hepatic encephalopathy and going into a coma and that sort of thing. But you know, lately, the last probably month or so, Katrina and I have been on the same page a lot more often than not. Cooking with each other, cooking together, cutting out salt. You know, I now eat probably less than a pound of meat in a week, a pound of animal protein in a week, I should say. That includes any dairy, eggs, meat, fish. I really don't eat much of it at all anymore. Most of my meals are all vegetarian. I use chicken broth that I boil up chicken feet for. I buy them from a local farm that processes their chickens as humanely as can be done. I've been to the farm. I know the people who run it. They're free-range birds, and it's done as well as can be done. And I'm not trying to excuse the fact that I eat meat. I'm not apologizing for it. I'm honest with you about it, and if you want to, jump on me about it, that's your right. But I still eat chicken broth. The collagen in the feet, I find helps to ease my gastric issues quite a bit. helps with my skin tone. But I am moving away from that as well. I drink much less broth on a weekly basis than I used to. I don't eat nearly as much meat as I used to. I had beef the other night, and it actually was so fatty and so heavy that it kind of made me sick. So I probably will stop eating beef altogether very soon. I'm not looking forward to another bout of that. And I've gotten very into exploring vegetables. I think I'm probably going to go on a fast here pretty soon. And also I'm looking at probably starting back on juicing to a degree, just like 8 ounces of juice with some of the super greens and sprouted seeds and sprouts, and some maybe oranges and apples and beets to detox, help my liver keep up its detoxification. My liver is in ungodly bad shape. But I seem to be able to get myself healthy enough to be off the transplant list. So, you know, I don't know where that's going to go, but we're still exploring those options. Looking at the potential of liver cancer with the lesions on my liver, and we'll find that out in a few more weeks. But otherwise, you know, it's been a process. I don't know if you can hear my stomach growling, but that's not because I'm hungry. That's because I just had some pineapple and some raspberries, and I put a little sriracha on them, and oh my god, it was good. Hot stuff and sweet. Hot and sweet. I love it. I like hot and sour too, but hot and sweet is becoming one of my new favorites. Geez, I lost my train of thought. I was thinking about food again. But no, you know, we've gotten a lot happier with each other about it. We've gotten a lot more confident in each other's decisions, and we're learning to involve each other more in our decision-making process for meals and dinner plans and that sort of thing. And it was strange to watch it evolve, because for the first few years of our relationship, Katrina and I didn't do a lot of communicating on a real in-depth level. We talked, you know, we laughed, we joked with each other, we played around, and it was, you know, fun. But we didn't communicate with each other effectively about ideas and thoughts and beliefs and ideals. And so now we're getting to that point where we're starting to learn how to truly communicate with each other, and we communicate in very different ways. I'm very verbal. I talk a lot, and Katrina can talk a lot, but sometimes for as much as she talks, she doesn't say a lot. So we're learning to communicate with each other more effectively, and that's making things better. And you know, we're still going through the process of losing weight and feeling better about ourselves and feeling more confident in the decisions that we're making. And then, you know, there's the stress of life and money and, you know, kids and where our future is going to go and how we're going to, you know, get to where we want to be and what our future plans are with each other. So, you know, there's a lot of things that add into the stress of day-to-day life. And diet is one of them, and diet is a big one right now. It's big for both of us because we're still needing to lose weight and become more healthy for each other, for ourselves. But I think we both have a handle on our dietary choices, and I think we're both going generally in the same direction, and we're communicating better, and we're understanding each other better, and we're more confident in each other's decisions and choices. We're sharing more with each other. We're bringing up ideas to each other more often. And, you know, I've been a cook, and she says that I would, you know, tell her she's not going to like stuff and that's going to taste bad. And I do that sometimes because I've been a cook. I've cooked in restaurants. I love to cook at home. I consider myself a foodie. I'm a food nerd. I love different flavor combinations and herbs and spices and how they pair with what foods. And you know, I love to get that sense of umami and other different flavor sensations in your mouth. And so she would bring up ideas where something would look visually interesting, but I can tell from looking at the ingredients that it's probably going to taste bitter or a little off or just not be satisfying. And so sometimes I'll you know, take a dump on an idea that she brings up, and I can be sort of callous about it because I don't always consider my audience when I'm talking to her, and Katrina's very sensitive and sometimes takes my brusqueness the wrong way. So I'm learning to be not quite a jerk, which is hard for me because I've spent a long time being a jerk, and that's probably the nicest term that I can come up for it. I'm a prick. I'm an asshole and a bastard, and I make no apologies about it. That's how I act. I don't do it out of spite or to be mean or with malice. It's just my way. I don't sugarcoat anything. If I don't like something, I'll tell you I don't like it, and I don't often consider having to explain myself other than, no, that's shit. So, you know, I'm learning to compromise a little bit on that as well, or trying to. I'm trying to be a more sensitive partner. It's not easy, but I'm working on it. And I think in the end, we're going to come out of this stronger as a couple, stronger as a family. And, you know, it's been a good thing for both of us. And it's going to continue to be a good thing, getting healthy, eating right, getting your life right, getting your head right, getting your soul right, your body. It's all about, you know, becoming a balanced person and being able to find joy and peace where life is mainly, you know, suffering and pain and crap and stress. You have to be able to maximize the moments of pleasure and peace and joy, and those will get you through the rest of it. And so if you're not a balanced person, it's hard to make the most of the good times, and it's hard to not wallow in the bad times. So we're learning to make the most of the good times and not wallow in the bad, and we've got a lot of bad right now. But we're finding the good, you know, getting out into the nature. Maine is a beautiful, beautiful state in the spring, summer, and fall, and we're making the most of that. Getting out, doing a lot of hiking and swimming and fishing. And so I guess what I'm trying to say, in a very roundabout, long-winded, please shut up already sort of way, is although it started out rocky, this process that we're going through with our diet and how it affected the relationship, in the end it's going to make us stronger and make us better people for it, and we're both going to be healthier because of it. And so I'm glad that she stuck with me through my doubt and through me being an asshole. You know, the girl saved my life, and I owe it to her to try to compromise a little bit on the things that I didn't think that I would ever compromise on. So it's a good thing, as Martha would say. And I hope you guys continue to watch, continue to talk to us, share with us, like and subscribe to our channel and our videos, and we'll see you again soon. Peace, guys.